Okay, March 1st of 2025, I'm going to go to the back onto the porch because apparently my landlady, 84 years old, is telling Marcane to clear off the porch with my belongings. Because she's not satisfied. I don't know what he's at, killing trees, whatever. This is dirt. Pay for dirt, throw out the dirt. Oh, fuck, this is stupid, people. Okay, this is illegal what they're doing. At that meeting, they said that these landlords are getting creative with how they're going about evicting people so that they can raise the rent. Yep. Oh, well, a walkway. It's not mud. It just needs to be sprayed down. So anyway, it's broken. It's all rotten, busted through. You can see what's going on here. We know this thing has been leaking for 14 years. I deal with this in the spring, but she said to get rid of it. Oh yeah. So what, he's going to come and throw this out? Even though I just rescued it? I have play food. Do you see what's going on here? I have a basket of play food in the house that I had to rescue from downstairs when he was chucking shit out from the downstairs for the basket. And Mrs. Gill said, throw it out. What else is here? Andre brought it out for me. Here's a little chair for a little May that I rescued. This is my porch. He threw that out from the basement when he threw out everything else. Now, I don't know what this is. Carpet, this is garbage. I just didn't get a chance to take it out. He threw that out from the basement. But I guess it's going in the bin now because Mrs. Gill said get rid of it. I guess she's going to throw out my fish tank and whatever's in here. Now I cleared out in here for her. Alright. You can see what's going on. Remember when I had to lay this down? Because it's all fucking rotting out. The only thing that holds up this fucking post when it busts through this hole. My son has already replaced this wood once. And because it leaks, that's all it does is fucking leak in here, people. That's all it fucking does is leak, leak, leak. That's all it's been doing. That's my fault, right? No, it's not my fault. You can see, right? Cleared it out. That can go on the road for somebody. Right? That's for garden stuff. Whatever. I'll remove that. You can see what I did. I guess that's not good enough though, right? Oh, no, 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 no. Gotta go in for the kill. Gotta get this out. Right? You know what I'm saying? Right? So I guess I'm documenting it, that he's gonna come in here, rip everything apart, throw everything out, because my landlord is evicting me from the yard, and now the porch. Even though the thing leaks like a fucking sieve. And I've been battling with it for years. This is the little part here that I got that's dry. Just this little part here is dry. This little part here is dry. That's all that's left. Right? That's a tent. I guess my son will throw that out. Right? Yeah. I need the basket. It's got boots in there with boot covers. What, he's going to throw that out too? I haven't had a chance to bring it in. Okay, I'm buying baskets. This basket I need. But I'm afraid he's going to come in here tomorrow and just chuck everything out because my landlord said chuck it out. Yeah, easy for her to say, right, people? There's toys from the bedroom that I took out. I just got busy this last year. Right? So what, are you going to throw out my cremic planter pot? Right? I'm just saying. This is stupid. She has no right just to demand to be throwing out my stuff. But at that meeting, that's what these landlords are doing. Because they know it's too hard to catch up with them. They're not being held to account. That was one of the topics. You see, you can't even trust these stairs, man. They're not being held to account. What is this? They're not being held to account. That's why they're doing what they're doing. That's why they're so vicious about what they're doing. Because even if you take them to court, to the landlords in Tennessee Ag Branch, the topic was they're not being held to account. These landlords, the landlords in Tennessee Ag Branch isn't holding them to account, people. You have to lay down this stuff. Look, he lifted up the wood. You have to, because if you don't, it's just mud. Did he leave me the rails? Yeah, he left me the rails, but what was the point? He wants to tear everything else apart. You can, he broke the fucking fence. More. So he could take out whatever the fuck he wanted to take out here. This is just mud. You know what's going to happen here this year? I can tell you what's going to happen. It's going to grow nothing but mad weeds, and then the weeds will get so out of control, and the raccoons will just shit in it. That will be it. I already know. I know what this yard is. This is going to be the next fucking raccoon latrine. As soon as the weeds start to grow. Unless he wants to cover it up with something. This is stupid. Fucking stupid. Fucking stupid. I'm not staying here, people. Next month, I'm going to have Rhea come to the house, and I'm just going to start selling shit off. Because if I don't, they're going to go... So what did you do? Cut half the branches off the... What is this? My walnut tree. He cut off a whole bunch of branches off my walnut tree. Instead of emptying the dirt in there, as he dragged the fucking... That was full of dirt. I don't know why he didn't empty it there, but whatever. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, people. Here, he took the thing to sit on away. All he did was open up landfill. Here I had to lay down the bricks, the walkways. Where is it? Right here. It's all a walkway up in here to cover up this shit. He thinks he's going to go grass. Yeah, for a little while until the weeds take over. Oh, here we go. See, I thought it was... I put wood in there for the fire pit. Either or, it doesn't matter. It's just going to be a mud pit back here, people. That's all it's going to be. And raccoon shit. I don't know. I asked him to save the 4x4s. It looks like he might be doing that. Maybe. Who knows? Who cares? I don't fucking care. Like I said, those people, is this recording, at that meeting, they said these landlords know that they can get away with this shit. Nothing is holding them to account. Nothing. Nothing is stopping them. That's why they want to try and bring in provincial initiative. They're not quite sure how to do it because they know they're up against a big problem. Yeah, they know it. They freaking know it. This is full of dirt. Why he dragged this out, I'll never know. I paid for that dirt. So what? Are they going to throw the dirt in the bin, or is he going to just start piling it up into the pond? Where does he plan on putting that fucking dirt? Why didn't he just empty it by the walnut tree? Right? Do you know what I'm saying? It's like stupid. Fucking stupid. Yeah, walk on my walkway. Enjoy it while you can. Right? Yeah, okay. Okay, so I guess we just have to wait and see what happens tomorrow. Or the next day, or whatever it is, in regards to what I just showed you on the porch there. Okay? Some of that stuff I rescued out of the bin. Alea May and Kyrie can sit in that little pink chair. I have the play food. I already... What? Did you go inside the bin? No, I'm not even... No. I'm not going inside that bin. I already... No, I don't know. It's okay. No. If he wipes out everything on that porch, that belongs to me, people. My landlord has absolutely no right to ask my son to remove my belongings that are barely sheltered from the elements in terms of rain leaking from that crappy roof that's been up there for 14 years and was already compromised when I moved in, because it was leaking when I moved in. And you can see I've been Mickey Mousing around over the years, right? But it's like those people were saying at that meeting today. These landlords know that they can do whatever the hell they want. My son says, I'm above the law. No, it's more like the landlords are above the law. Because they know that they're not going to be held to account if you get them into like a landlords and tenancy act branch situation. You know, even if you take them to quote-unquote court, a lot of these judges are bought off. They really are, right? Because if a judge was to do the right thing and you win, it sets the precedence for other people to follow and stand up for their rights. And right now, it's not about poor people having rights. Okay, so I can't do anything other than wait and see what happens. If he starts and I hear him, I'll open my kitchen window, I'll record him, try and refrain from saying anything to him because what he's doing is wrong. Right? But he'll blame the landlord for it because that's where the direction came from, not from the city. Although she'll say it was the city because they're hiding behind each other, right? Okay? And they're going to throw out perfectly good things to prove a point. To prove a point. The point that they can. And they won't be held to account, because by the time that's like when I got cut off of welfare in 2003 in December, because I couldn't go to work in a tomato hothouse for them, in terms of you either go to work in a tomato hothouse, like a hothouse where they grow tomatoes. If you don't go to work, we're cutting you off of welfare. I said, well, I can't. I got 5 dependent kids, right? You know what I'm saying? Uncle John was blind. It was impossible for me just to leave him at home for 10 hours a day to go work in a hothouse, picking tomatoes or whatever the hell it was that they wanted me to do. They said, well, if you don't do it, we're cutting you off of welfare next month. I'm like, okay, well, I don't know. And that's exactly what they did. And then when they took Uncle John, right? And I started writing a lawsuit. And I was reading all this legislation from legislation to legislation to legislation. And then that's when and that was what, in 2017 when I started writing it, really, 16, 17. They took them in 15. It took me a couple of years to really hunker down and get involved with the legislation and, you know, and da-da-da-da-da-da, right? Criminal Code of Canada, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And don't forget, we had CIBC Bank as well, right? And that's when I discovered the legislation that proved that what they did to me was illegal. And whatever legislation that they said that they were using hadn't even come into effect. And it wouldn't have had for at least 9 months before they cut me off of welfare. And even then, I didn't qualify to be cut off of welfare. The worst that they could have done to me is only deduct $100 off my check. So not only did they cut me off 9 months before the legislation even came into effect, but they cut me off illegally for something I didn't even fall under in terms of criteria to give them that right. But it took me until 2017 to find that legislation. So you figure from 2003 to 2017 to find out that they committed an illegal act. And then when I filed the lawsuit, like in regards to what happened to Shmay and, you know, and not, you know, just the whole night bringing Uncle John back to the surface and Sierra died and all that, right? What did that Attorney General lawyer say with Judge Ross? It's past the statute of limitation that I was supposed to take the government to court when they cut me off of welfare illegally, as if I knew that they had done that. Because they didn't provide me the legislation to prove that what they were doing was legal. They just said, we're cutting you off if you don't go work in a hothouse for tomatoes picking. And because I couldn't, they did. They didn't give me a January check for 2003. That was it. I was cut off of welfare. And then, Andre, take that away from him for a minute. And then, when Andre was illegally apprehended, right, and I was fighting to get him back, and then eventually, right, I was getting him back, but before I got him back, I had to, go through this assessment where a social worker came to the house, and because I was so busy in the yard, people, I'd be working in the yard with the social worker asking me questions, taking notes to fill out this questionnaire that I had to do before I could get Andre back. Anyway, the subject of being cut off of welfare came up. And then she tried to say, oh, I looked into your file or whatever, and it said that you removed yourself off of welfare. I said, no, I did not. Why would I do that? I was in my house for 8 years. All of a sudden, poof, in January, I didn't receive a check because I couldn't go work in a hothouse. And because I had 5 kids and Uncle John, do you honestly think I was trying to look up legislation to take the government to court or whatever I was supposed to do so that I could get a welfare check? Fuck no. I packed up my family, people, as fast as I could. And I tried to keep us together. And it wasn't, it was no picnic, okay? Let's just put it that way. Well, it's the same shit. These landlords know that by the time they destroy your life, good luck trying to fucking catch up to the corruption and fight them in court, because they know that, right? This is just, this is being done with malicious intent, right? It's psychological warfare. They're turning one family member against another family member, right? They're very good at getting families to fight within the family unit, because then, it's easier to pluck one off here and attack one over there, and one disappears over there, and, right? You know what I'm saying? Or whatever, okay? Like, this is nothing new with this fucking stupid, sorry, boo-boo crap, right? Like, this is, like, seriously, I don't have much left, okay? And if he wants to go there and grab that stuff because Mrs. Gill said so, what right does she have to take what little bit I have left under a porch that she never fixed, not right? Where I'm up there stapling, taping, scrounging around looking for things to prevent leaking, to protect the few things that I have as things get ruined every year. When I first moved in, I had an easel. I showed you on the video. I don't know. Maybe I already deleted it. I deleted it. I don't know. Maybe I uploaded. I don't know. Anyway, there was an easel that was like if I was to buy the easel that I came in with in this house, I put it in the porch, not realizing that it leaked, right? You know what I'm saying? And then came back in later to find out that the bloody thing leaked and it ruined that easel, people. That was one of the first things that got ruined in this environment, this fucking house. It was, to buy it on the cheap is $130. And to buy it new, like not on the cheap, $130 on the cheap, same kind of easel, $150. Well, that was one of the first easels that got ruined when I first moved in within the first year because of that porch, because it leaked. And every year, my stuff has been getting ruined. My videos have proven that. Every year, when I was out there in the yard, I'm always having to wash because of the sand and the grit and the mud and the raccoons with their paws and this and that. And, you go into my videos, I show you where they how they use latrines. They like certain, like whatever my son did. Sure, it looks fine now, but wait till the weeds start to grow. And they get up to about this high. And that's all that grows there is weeds, because it's landfill, people. Okay? They crawl in there, and they use it as a latrine. And because the weeds will be like this, and nobody's going to cut the fucking weeds, what? Is the city going to come in and say, we're not cutting back on the weeds? And that will be their excuse to say, well, we've been here. This is this last time we gave you the warning. And this is what Acorn at the meeting was saying today, that these landlords are getting creative, and they're, as fast as you're catching up to them, they're figuring out more and more ways to hurt you and to terrorize their tenants and to harass their tenants so that they can kick out the tenants, so they can jack up the rent just like that, so they can amass wealth for themselves, people. Yeah, as they're destroying your belongings, knowing that nobody's going to hold them to account. Since when does a landlord have the right to come onto your premises that you rent and wipe out practically everything on the outside, including what's on your porch? Unless, of course, they know they can get away with it. And that's the point. They know they can get away with it. Just like when the government cut me off of welfare illegally in 2003 in January, with a 1-month notice that if I didn't go pick tomatoes in a hothouse, I was getting cut off of welfare with 5 dependent kids and Uncle John, who was a blind man. And that's exactly what they did. And they hid the legislation from me when it wasn't even legal or in effect. And then when the government was called on it, whenever I filed the last lawsuit, because I discovered it in 2017 when I was fighting for Uncle John, they called the card of statute of limitation versus acknowledging what they did. As you got somewhere in some social service file that I did it to myself, which is a bunch of crock. And that's what I told that social worker when I was working in Mrs. Gill's yard. And she was asking me these questions, and I was answering them, and she was kind enough, really, to write them down for me. because I told her I couldn't stop working in the yard. I need help. So she came, and a few times, and question after question after question. And then she typed everything out, and then she gave me the copy, and I read it. And there was a couple of things in there I had to change. Right? Because I was working in my landlord's yard. Have videos on it, people. 2 times, 2 separate social workers as I was fighting for Andre at the tail end of getting him back. And where was I? Working in Mrs. Gill's yard. Yeah. And now my son is exposing landfill all over the place, which is just going to turn into one big dust bucket and a weed factory, where the raccoons are going to move in even more and find more spots to use as a latrine. But I ain't cleaning it up. And then he'll get mad at me because he's got to deal with raccoon shit. Because if you don't deal with the raccoon shit, what, the city's going to show up and say that we're not fucking cleaning up raccoon shit now with weeds like this? Yeah, okay, whatever. Whatever. I told you this is not a safe house. It's not a safe house outside. It's not a safe house inside. And it's not a safe house for my family. Do I consider my son to be my family? Fuck no.